Rosa and I got in contact with each other, and she's traveling this weekend, so she won't be able to do a show. So next week we're gonna try and have her on the show. So the timeline of what's happened is Monday she filed the emergency injunction. Tuesday she had her hearing, and the judge basically said, like, to be able to grant this injunction, I have to know how you've been injured, and to know how you've been injured, I would need to see a complaint. So she worked tirelessly, and on Wednesday got her complaint in. Got before the judge again, and this time the judge said, "I see your complaint, I see your emergency injunction, but if you want me to do anything immediate, I'm going to need to see a temporary restraining order." Temporary restraining order, basically, Finn doesn't have to be there, the lawyer's going to be there. She can do it ex parte, just her and the judge. All she has to do is show that she's got a reasonable cause, and then they give 2 weeks restraining order, and then there's a hearing about the restraining order. And so she filed that this morning. I have no idea if she got in front of the judge at all today. I've had no update from her on that. But she filed it early, like 8:40 in the morning Eastern time this morning. So we've got that set. And she did a little interview, I think, with Uncle Smokey yesterday, Wednesday, somewhere in there. And it sounds like this judge is very much a consumer advocate. That he does rule on the side of retail when it comes down to it, and it seems as though before he makes a ruling, he wants to make sure that her case is as airtight as possible, so that it doesn't get overturned by somebody else, and then he feels embarrassed and whatever for not doing his job. So it seems like he's definitely nudging her as to the best way to go about getting this done, which, that's a good sign. And there we go. So those are the two big updates. NextBridge issued their shares. NextBridge website, which is a link in the description. If you go to the NextBridge website, you can sort of register your shares with them. Tell them how many shares you have and what broker it is. And if you've got shares in multiple brokers, register multiple times. And that way they can kind of get a good view of how many shareholders there are and how many shares are out there. That way they can show a court like, hey, we just had 195 million shares registered with us. We can show that just in the folks who responded to this, how many shares are trading versus how many shares there actually should be, which shows that the shorts did not close, and that shenanigans, that there's just shenanigans everywhere. Do something. So that helps the cause. So click on that link down in the description and fill that sucker out. Get forward, Houston. If you aren't able to get transferred to AST and company assets are sold off, will the brokers still have to deliver the spin-out dividend payment, or will it go to AST shares of NextBridge? Well, if there's a synthetic, then a payment in lieu is owed. So whoever created that synthetic, that counterfeit, has to pay you what everyone else got. The thing is that there shouldn't be any, because it's against the law to have synthetics on a short position on a private company. So if you get a PIL, that's proof they were breaking the law. And it'll show up in your statement like payment in lieu. So now it's more evidence that can be used. Word is some whales are now getting cold called by their brokers to gray sale their shares and sign an NDA. There were rumors that it was going to happen, and now we've got folks saying that they've been contacted. It's my guess that they're going after the largest shareholders first and then working their way down. And since I only have like 1,000 shares, I'm way down towards the bottom. But here's the thing. They'll make you sign an NDA, which means you can't talk about how much you sold it for, or if you sold them, or any of that stuff. You just zip. Mum's the word. I'm not recommending this. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm just saying that, like, it is possible to create, say, an anonymous Twitter account or a Reddit account using a VPN and geospoofer, GPS spoofer, and perhaps let everyone know that you've been contacted and how much you sold for. You know, or at least be like, hey, my broker contacted me. I had XXXX shares, and I just sold them for XXXXX. And they'll let us know, like, hey, what's happening? So, think about that. Think about that. And there's a dude on Schwab whose $1,000 limit order is currently pending. They didn't cancel his limit order. Now it's all of a sudden going through. So there is somebody making $1 million off of their position right now at 1,000x from what they bought in. So, yeah, that's happening. So, Abror Ergashev. You were telling Acme is the test. If shorts can escape from this, they can escape from any other. Do you still plan to invest in the future since this test failed, kinda? Well, I think right now is we are now, like, we tested the regulators. The regulators suck. They can't do their job to save their lives, or they're just not doing their job because they are protecting their golf buddies. The test now is going to be the courts. And the courts, you know, these judges have lifetime appointments. So technically they shouldn't have loyalty to anything because you can't fire them. You just can't get rid of them. So they can do whatever in their heart they feel is right. So we're going to test the legal system now and see if the legal system can actually constrain this malfeasance and force them through court orders to actually do what the laws say they're supposed to do. So now we're moving that way. But we've got COSM, I don't know how we want to pronounce that. They're going through something crazy. They did like a 25-1 reverse split, and now no one can sell, which means the shorts can't hammer the price. But no, sorry, no one can buy. So the shorts can't hammer the price or whatever. And the price skyrocketed from like $3 to $12 today. And it's getting worse. And right now, the margin overall in the market is getting really constrained. We're having the largest drop percentage of margin available since 2008 when the market collapsed. They're expecting another contraction of $300 billion in margin, which is, you know, from last year's estimates, it's about 30% of all the margin that's available. They're getting hit really hard and they're losing assets like crazy, especially if a lot of them dumped assets into crypto. FTX is gone. Luna's done. It sounds like Binance is going to go under. People are draining Bitcoin from there like crazy. So their alternative sources of income are starting to just dematerialize. And now they're going to be stuck with these hard assets that they can't do anything about because the SPY is starting to drop again. SPY is down $28 since Monday. It's like 4.8 on Monday. So, oops, here we go. Here we go. Maybe my SPY puts that I bought a month ago will finally be worth something. They're still, SPY is lower than it was where I bought, but they're still worth less than when I bought them. All right, whatever. Such is life.